show, and then I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Okay, can you guys see my screen? Megan, you guys see my screen?
Yeah, you're good,
Yes, we
Dr.
can see it.
Dieter.
We can see it.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you guys very, very. What did I do? Okay. Yeah, thank you guys very, very much for being here. Optimize your video, optimize for video. Let's do that. Yes, great. Uh, Thank you guys very, very much for being here. As you guys heard from Megan, my name is Dr. Dieter. I'm a double board certified physician in internal medicine and pediatrics. And I've become very, very passionate about helping people to reclaim their health. And I'm gonna start with this question. Why are we so sick? And the answer is simple. It's because we eat in ways that harm our body's natural biology. That's simple. You see, food is supposed to be medicine, and in the same breath, uh, food could be poison. And what we eat affects two key systems in our body. And what are those two key systems? How the body makes energy and how our gut functions. Those two systems, those two entities are the reasons why we are so sick. Now, what I want to do is I want to take those two entities, how our bodies make energy and how our gut functions, and help you understand how those two and help you understand how those two. I'm sorry, let's get to going to give me 1 second. Hmm. There we go. There we go. And help you understand how those two things cause the sicknesses that we face today, this and that. So let's start with how our body makes energy. Our body makes energy by depending on insulin. Uh, why is that? How does that happen? Insulin is a hormone that is a very critical hormone in the body, the most important hormone, and it helps our body to make energy. And how does it do that? You see, the job of insulin is to move glucose. When we eat, the end product of absorption is the release of glucose into the blood. All the calories that we eat are, are converted into the glucose. The body's job, or insulin's job, is to mobilize that glucose out of the blood into the cell. Okay, this is a cell. Now, inside the cell, when insulin mobilizes that glucose into the cell, there is a special organelle in the cell here called the mitochondria. And the mitochondria is just simply an energy factory in the cell. That glucose is run through that energy factory. And the result after glucose is run through that energy factory is the production of an energy molecule called ATP. Okay. And ATP is energy. Now, that is how insulin secures the body's energy needs. Now, why is that important? That's important because every cell in the body requires energy to function. The simplest entity of the body is a cell. Cells group up to form tissues. Tissues group up to form organs. Organ system. System forms a whole man. Every single cell needs energy to function. And when the cell doesn't have the energy that it needs to function, the cell malfunctions. The simplest definition of a disease is a group of cells, tissues, organs, or system that has malfunctioned because of the lack of energy. So we say when insulin is not able to secure the body's energy needs, when there is a breakdown in this process of insulin securing the body's energy needs, we call that breakdown insulin resistance, right? Insulin resistance, a breakdown in insulin securing the body's energy needs. And I want to go back to this slide where I said, why are we sick? We eat, in a way that affects these two systems. Now, one thing I want you guys to understand that causes us to be this breakdown in insulin securing the body's energy needs is that in today's day and age, we are consuming way more calories than we are supposed to be. In fact, the data, the statistics show that in today's day and age, we consume 30 to 35% more calories than your great great grandfather and my great 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 grandfather consumed 400 years ago. Now, why is that an issue? Remember that I mentioned in this slide that when we eat, all the calories that we eat are converted into glucose, and insulin's job is to move that glucose in the cell. Every time we consume calories, so two things are happening to us. We're consuming bad calories and excess of calories, something our ancestors never did because we're consuming 30 to 35% more calories than our ancestors did. Every time we eat, you put insulin to work. Every time you eat, insulin has to go to work to process those calories. Now, imagine having a job and your boss tells you on that job, hey, Megan, this new job that you have signed up for, you're in for it. You're going to have to work 30 to 35% overtime every day. What's going to happen to you, Megan? You're going to burn out. You cannot work 30 to 35% overtime every day. So, what is happening to us while we are sick? We are consuming so much calories, we are putting insulin to work too much. Insulin is working so much, insulin gets burned out. And when insulin gets burned out, insulin can no longer secure the body's energy needs.
Sylvia, I do not know what is going on with this deck.
Okay, can we find that dude and make sure he has no more special effects? So when insulin gets burned out, overworked, when insulin gets overworked, it gets burned out. When you're burned out, you cannot do the work you're supposed to do again. That's how, you develop a breakdown, insulin not being able to secure the body's energy needs because we have bombarded ourselves with calories, 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 calories. That's one way. Now, um, I want to talk about the second aspect right here. Before I go into the second aspect, when your body is not able to make energy, remember how I defined the disease? A disease is a group of cells, tissues, organs, or system that has malfunctioned because of the lack of energy. When insulin cannot secure your body's energy needs, the cells that need energy to function do not have the energy, they malfunction. And then you develop these diseases, diabetes, high blood pressure, migraines. All of these diseases are the fruit of lack of energy. And I want to, as I have this slide on here, I do not want you to think that this is a slide that is exhaustive. Unfortunately, I cannot put a slide big enough that will encompass all the diseases of modern day that come as a result of insulin not being able to secure the body's energy needs. The second reason why we are sick is our gut. You know, how our gut functions depends on healthy gut bacteria. You see, you may not know it, but in our gut live bacteria that God, our creator, put in there. And those bacteria have a special name called the microbiome. And there are about 30 to 100 trillion bacteria in our gut. So the composition of those bacteria, 50% are the good guys, and 50% are what you call bad bacteria. So your gut is considered to be healthy when you have this 50-50 balance. Now, the gut, when there is that 50-50 balance and the gut is healthy, it helps the gut to be able to provide certain important functions. This slide I have on here is a depiction of some of the very important functions of the gut. Uh, and those important functions rely on the composition of this good bacteria. You have to have a good number of good bacteria. And I want to highlight something about the gut, which is very important because this is something I didn't know in medical school. Did you know that 70% of the body's immune system resides in the gut? And the other 30% of the body's immune system resides in the bone marrow, the lymph nodes, the lymphatic. And the gut has a very important function in helping to train the immune system. You see, your immune system is your body's defense mechanism. It helps to protect you from things. When the gut is healthy, what the gut does is it trains the immune system to protect the gut. When the gut is unhealthy, when there is an imbalance in this bacteria, instead of the immune system protecting the body, the gut turns the immune system against the body. The immune system begins to attack the body. When it attacks the body, you develop autoimmune diseases. So, very, very important function of the gut. Now, when we say you have gut imbalance, it's a scenario where the bad bacteria have outnumbered the good bacteria. And what happens is that the bad bacteria increase in number to maybe 70%. Sorry, the bad bacteria, where is that? The bad bacteria increase in number to 70% maybe, whereas they're supposed to be at 50, and the good bacteria decrease to 30%, whereas they're supposed to be at 50. When you have that, we call that gut imbalance. And when there is gut imbalance, the gut could no longer do the functions that the gut is meant to do. What causes gut imbalance? Because our Creator made us perfectly and wonderfully. So once upon a time, there was perfect balance here, 50 of good, 50 of bad. What causes imbalance? It is the shortage of food. The shortage of food. You see, these organisms in the gut, this bacteria in the gut, have to rely on nutrients to thrive. And the food for this bacteria is fiber. Fiber is one of those nutrients that man doesn't digest. And I think God created it in that way because it is chow for this bacteria in the gut. Now, our foods are so processed. An average man is supposed to eat 38 grams of fiber a day. A man, okay, supposed to eat 38 grams of fiber a day. A woman is supposed to have at least 25 grams of fiber a day. In the United States, the NIH estimates that the average man and woman is taking in 10 to 12 grams of fiber a day. Now, when there is a shortage of food, okay, the bad bacteria in the gut are stronger than the good bacteria. So anytime there is a shortage of food, because our foods are so processed, taking out all the fiber from our foods, that shortage of fiber in our food causes you don't have enough food to go around for the bad guys and the good guys. The bad bacteria are the stronger bacteria. So what they do when there's a shortage of food is they hoard the little food that is there and then say to themselves, you know what? Let's go ahead. Since there is not enough food for us, the bad guys and the good guys, let's go ahead and increase our army, so that we could keep a monopoly on this food. And when that happens, we say you have gut imbalance. And when you have gut imbalance, these functions are now compromised. When those functions are compromised, you develop diseases like this. Hashimoto is an autoimmune disease where the gut has turned the immune system against you. The immune system is now attacking you. Lupus is an autoimmune disease. MS is an autoimmune disease. Celiac is an autoimmune disease. There are many other diseases on here that come as a result of this gut imbalance. And I want to highlight this anxiety and depression because I found this intriguing when I learned about the science 3 years ago. You may be surprised to learn that anxiety and depression is as a result of gut imbalance. But when I explain the biology to you, it will make sense. I was surprised when I learned about this. You see, there is a hormone called serotonin, and serotonin is what we call the happy hormone or the mood hormone. It helps to maintain our mood and happiness. Did you know that 90% of that hormone is produced in the gut? And the other 10% of that hormone is produced in the central nervous system. So when the gut is not healthy, 90% of this cannot be produced. You have a deficiency of the hormone that secures happiness and mood. You have anxiety and depression. Now, in as much as there is evidence that says that the reason why we are sick is because of how the body makes energy and how the gut functions, um, there is also evidence now that if we could restore how the body makes energy and restore the balance of the gut, those things that cause these issues and these issues, if you could restore the root cause, how the body makes energy and the gut, then you could reverse that disease, that disease condition. And I'll give you this example. If you're driving, because these two entities cause a stolen energy, a deficiency in energy, decrease in energy that the body needs. Now, if you're driving a car and the car runs out of gas, what's going to happen is that car is going to stop. The car stops not because of an intrinsic failure of the engine. No. The car stops because its fuel source, its energy is gone. If you were to walk to the nearest gas station and buy gas in a gallon and walk back to your car on the side of the road, and put gas back in that car roars back to life again. Why? Because you have restored its energy shortage. It is so with the body because these diseases come as a result of energy shortage. If you could reverse the issues that cause the energy shortage and restore the energy, those diseases can be reversed. And so I want to introduce to you a solution that does just that, helps to reverse the energy problem, the insulin resistance, and reverse the gut imbalance. And this solution is called the Feel Great System, which is a nutraceutical product. What is a nutraceutical, you may ask? It's a product that is made 100% from plants, no medicines in it, and has huge therapeutic benefits. I'll start with both of these products work to reverse these two issues. So I'll start with the very first product called Unimate, and I'm drinking it right here. What is Unimate? Unimate is simply a product made from a plant native to South America called the yerba mate plant. The yerba mate plant. And what we're going to be doing with this, remember, if these two issues are the cause of our problems, we want to address these two issues. So what this product does is that it uses the science of intermittent fasting and fiber supplementation to reverse the energy problems and reverse the gut imbalance. I'll say that again. This product uses the science of intermittent fasting to reverse the energy problem, the insulin resistance, and the gut issues. You see, our ancestors never ate the way we eat. Our 30 to 35% more calories. If I say we eat 3 meals a day, I'll be generous because we actually graze, eat multiple times a day like vultures. And what happens is that when you're eating all the time, remember, each time you eat, you have given insulin a job to do. So if insulin is working 30 to 35% of the time, insulin gets burned out. And when insulin is burned out, insulin can no longer secure the body's energy needs. So one of the things we want to do when you are burned out from a work or something, the best way you recuperate, you heal from that burnout is rest. So what we're going to be doing with intermittent fasting, we're going to be putting insulin on bed rest to rest so that insulin recuperates from its burnout. So the yerba mate plant, what it does is that it's rich in a very special phytonutrient called chlorogenic acid. And that phytonutrient helps you to be able to fast because it causes the body to produce this hormone called glucagon like peptide 1, which is GLP-1 for short. GLP-1s are hormones that our body produces naturally. They help us not to feel hungry. So when you drink that, when you're on this product, we recommend that you no longer eat breakfast and reduce yourself to eating just 2 meals a day, lunch and dinner. What this does is that this helps you to be able to fast in that breakfast period. Why are you fasting? Why are you fasting for 16 hours? You are fasting for 16 hours because insulin is burned out. You're putting it to bed rest. You want it to rest from working overtime. When it rests, then it can begin to function efficiently again. So when insulin is not processing calories when you're fasting, it is resting, recuperating, and restoring its strength. So the GLP-1 component of that helps you to be able to do that. When you drink this, it causes you to be able to fast, give insulin a rest, and when your insulin is rested, it could become efficient again to securing the body's energy needs. That's how this product, working using the science of intermittent fasting, helps you to do that. And for any of you who are worried about fasting with willpower, this takes away the willpower because it just induces the body's ability, it shuts down the hunger center of the brain. The other thing is that the balance product does the same thing to reverse the body's energy problems. So balance, what is balance, you may ask? Balance is fiber. Remember, we are using the science of intermittent fasting and fiber supplementation to fix these issues. Our ancestors ate natural foods that were rich in fiber. The foods we eat today, if I showed my great 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 grandpapa, he'll be shocked. He wouldn't recognize that. So, the second product, which is just rich in fiber, also helps to cause the body to make energy well. Let me explain, let you guys know something which is so cool about fiber. Fiber does not contribute any calories to what you eat, okay? Fiber has a zero caloric value, no calories. And then the beautiful thing about fiber, fiber subtracts from the amount of calories that you eat. So if you add a burger, but you add fiber before you add that burger, fiber is going to subtract, not going to add calories to your meal, but will subtract the amount of calories you will gain from that burger. Why is that important? That is important because when you gain too much calories from a burger or from what you eat, it causes your insulin to work more. When your insulin is working too much, your insulin tires out. And that's how important fiber is. I want to give you this other depiction of what fiber does. If you and I went to an Italian restaurant to eat lasagna, and that was you and that was me, and we ordered a plate of lasagna, and you ate your plate of lasagna without fiber, your blood sugar is going to do this. That spike in your blood sugar may be a blood sugar of 180. If I, knowing a thing or two about this fiber product, and I consume the balance and I eat and then I eat the same plate of lasagna, my blood sugar will do this. And that spike in my blood sugar may be a blood sugar of 90. Why is that important? A blood sugar of 180 is going to cause your pancreas to produce more insulin, put more insulin to work. A blood sugar of 90 is going to cause my pancreas to produce a lower amount of insulin. So here you have 20 units of insulin working, 5 units of insulin. This insulin is doing much more work than this. You have 20. The more insulin works, the more insulin gets burned out. The more insulin gets burned out, it cannot now secure the body's energy needs. This is what fiber does. It keeps your insulin low by causing the amount of sugar that you absorb or calories that you absorb lower. And because of this scenario, anytime you consume, anytime you produce insulin is what we call an anabolic hormone. The higher your insulin, the more calories you're going to store from that meal. So for you, from this plate of lasagna, you're going to gain 950 calories. Maybe for me, from this plate of lasagna, I'm going to gain 300 calories. A big difference, hugely big difference. Now, that is what fiber does. And the last thing is that fiber is food for the gut. Because fiber is food for the gut, it helps to reverse the imbalance. Remember, I mentioned we develop gut imbalance when there is a shortage of fiber and the bad guys hoard all the food. Every living organism, whether it's a bacteria in the gut or a lion in the jungle, needs food. And the food for these organisms are fiber. So just by giving the body fiber, you begin to restore the gut balance. And when you do these two things, it reverses the energy problem, reverses the gut imbalance. These diseases that came as a result of that go away. And so I'll end by saying this. If you suffer from any chronic medical condition, the reason we are sick today, why we are sick today, is because food is our poison. We have eaten in the ways that have affected those two systems. And if we can restore those two issues, which this product is able to do, you can reclaim your health again. Thank you very much, Megan. I will stop sharing my screen and I will pass it back on to you to moderate. Thank you.
Great. Okay. So I'm going to share a few different examples of before and after pictures of people, but I'm going to start by at least explaining my own transformation where 3 years ago I thought I was just normal, that all of the health issues that I had, my doctors were telling me were just part of getting older. Menopause, the inflammation that I had, the my mom got Alzheimer's at 55. And so in my early 50s, I had preclinical Alzheimer's symptoms, and I just thought that was genetic. I was just going down the same path. I had high blood pressure, but so did my dad. It wasn't crazy high, it was 144 over 92. I had migraines every other week that would put me out for 2 days. And right, like if you're a female, midlife, you know the crazy menopause issues that can arise. And for me, I found the system didn't think it would help me at all because my issues were genetic in my mind. I did the system, and after 1 week, I got my brain back. I was no longer walking into rooms wondering why I walked there and having to go back to the kitchen to look at the note I had listed to tell me what I was doing. I had no more migraines. I have not had a migraine in 3 years, not even a headache. It's like a completely different life. I've had migraines since second grade. So I have literally been given a new body, and it blows me away. Every day when I wake up without pain, I think this is crazy. So for me, it's been transformative. I'm going to share my screen here. My blood pressure also went down to from 144 over 92 to 106 over 62. So I'm going to show just a few pictures here. This is my husband's best friend, Chris. This is his brother. Let me see if I can make that a little bit bigger here. I don't know how to. Ooh, that's too big. Okay. So his name is Will and this is Becky. And they have looked like this most of their adult life. They sat and watched most of us in the friend group use the system and have transformations. They waited 3 years. And then August of this year, this is just to October 5th of the same 2025. And this is like 5 weeks, and you can see the dramatic change in their body composition, and their blood work has improved as well. This is Jonathan Scott. He played in the NFL for 10 years, and after playing, right, he put on a little bit of weight. He had struggled with psoriasis for years on his scalp and had an injury to his hand where he had just chronic pain and had a hard time opening and closing his hand just after 2 months, right? 2 months utilizing the system, doing the intermittent fasting with the products. He is down 52 pounds here, no more psoriasis after years of struggling with that, and no more pain in his hand. He can open and close his hand without any problems. This is Brenda. I love Brenda. She is, I think she's 77 now. But when she first heard about this system, is a similar time period 3 years ago as me. And in the picture on the left, she had 5 bypasses and 9 stents. She was on the maximum amount of metformin, was told she needed to move to insulin, had high blood pressure, right? She was on $1,000 worth of meds a month. She used this system, and her arteries are now clear when they scan her arteries. She is off of all medication. She is no longer a type 2 diabetic. And she got her life back. She was sitting on the couch, right? Just with no energy. And now I've seen her dancing, right? She has tons of energy, and she's amazing. So this is an example of why intermittent fasting, the benefits that Dr. Dieter was talking about, like intermittent fasting, your body heals, but there's also something called autophagy. And when your body's leaning into autophagy, that is getting rid of unneeded cells, right? Recycling those old cells. And you can see Cody here. This is less than 6 months. I think he's down about 72 pounds here, but he has no excess skin here, right? He doesn't have to go in for the surgery that you see with some other weight loss programs where there's just all this extra skin. Your body takes care of that when you're leaning into fasting. And this is Sarah. Sarah was hypoglycemic, and so was I. So Sarah is no longer hypoglycemic. She was hypoglycemic since she was 13 and would have problems passing out, right? And as a hypoglycemic person, you're told you have to eat frequently. So this seemed like, how could I do this? I'm hypoglycemic. I have to snack all the time. I have to eat every couple hours or I'm going to get shaky. Low blood sugar, high blood sugar, it's the same metabolic dysfunction, just one end of the spectrum versus the other. And so Sarah here not only shrunk all of the excess weight that she didn't need, but her numbers on her blood work are phenomenal. She's off of her statin and it's no longer has to deal with blood sugar fluctuations. And I'll do one more. This is Dr. Marla. And in the picture on the left, Dr. Marla was struggling with long COVID. She had lots of brain fog and memory issues, as well as mobility. She had to use a cane to get around. This is, we were talking less than 3 months, the picture on the right, and gained her health back, gained her mental faculties back. She's no longer needing a cane. So the transformations that people have are significant. We have some people who are even on this call tonight have seen that, have personally experienced it. And I am very thankful that I personally was able to someone shared it with me. So Dr. Dieter, would you like to
Let's have
Keith?
Keith share his
Great.
story.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Keith, can you unmute or do I need to unmute you?
I think Keith is a host, so
Yeah, I can unmute.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm Keith. I'm not a doctor by any means, but my journey started about 26 years ago. I was diagnosed type 2 diabetic when I was 30 years old. Instantly put on the entire slew of meds. And then within 3 months, I was on insulin for the rest of my, up until 6 months ago, um, maybe seven. And and as life went on, I was constantly upgrading my pills, changing my meds, upping my insulin. And it kind of came to a head in 2018 when I was diagnosed with Guillain-Barré, which is an autoimmune disorder um, that affects the nervous system, and it left me unable to walk. And I went through extensive rehab and was able to get back to walking eventually. And then in November of 24, I got a foot ulcer. I was at my niece's wedding here in Florida, got a foot ulcer, and within a month, that foot ulcer grew to the size of a soda can at the bottom, and it was about a half-inch deep. You could reach in and touch bone. And it went septic in January of last year. And on the 14th in January of last year, my daughter's gender reveal party, she got the phone call that I wasn't going to make it. And I didn't. I died for just under a minute. Um, and when I came out of that, when they brought me back and I came out of, so I knew where I was at and why I was there, my blood pressure was 200 over 100. I was on 5 different blood pressure meds, metformin, glipizide, lisinopril. I mean, I was on a lot. I was on 15 different meds, plus getting injections of antibiotics to take care of the infection. And when I came out of the hospital, when I first came to in the hospital, I was told my kidneys had shut down and I was going to be on dialysis the rest of my life. That was able to get reversed um, when they got the infection under control. But when I came out of the hospital, I went into a hyperbaric chamber for 2 months, 45 minutes each way, to the tune of $180,000. And when I found the protocol, I made it my mission after the hyperbaric chamber that I was going to figure it out, how to get healthier. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what that looked like, but I know I needed help. And I stumbled across this system on TikTok, um, being shared by a good friend of ours. And the day, about 3 days after my grandson was born in June, I bought into the protocol. Literally got it on my doorstep on my birthday and started taking it right away. And on day one, my energy level shot through the roof. I hadn't had this kind of energy in decades. And on day two, I was off all 108 units of insulin. Um, by the end of 60 days, I was off 14 medication. I was down 60 pounds, 8 inches on my waist. Um, and by the time I got to 90 days, I was off. My blood pressure finally stabilized. That was the last one that it was coming down, but not as fast as I would have liked. But my blood pressure now, like Megan was saying, is it I think the highest it gets is like 125 over 80. And that's pretty rare that it even gets that high. Um, but by the time I got to 90 days, I was down 75 pounds, 10 inches on my waist. Um, I had lined up all my doctors for that around that 90 day. And once you pass away, just so you know, you're gonna know the who's who of the medical world. You get them all. And my eye doctor hadn't seen my eyes look this good in over 4 years. And keep in mind, well, a year ago now, I was still getting injections in both eyes, needles stuck in my eyes to to try and help the bleeding of my retinas. My cardiologist was amazed. My foot doctor he said I was a walking billboard. Um, and I've now been on the protocol for just over 6 months, 7 months maybe. I'm down over 90 pounds, down 14 inches on my waist. I went from a 4X shirt to an extra large, size 50 pants down to a 36. Um, my type 2, my A1C went from a 7.5 all the way down to a 5.4. That was in 90 days. I haven't had it tested since. I think I get it tested in March of this year. Um, my blood work is spot on. My, a lot of people, a lot of us talk about your insulin resistance score. Mine was before I started the protocol, it was a 9. It is now a 1.6. So the protocol works, and I didn't think I was going to be here, and I got to spend an awesome Christmas with my grandson. Um, I got to spend time, learning different skills. I drive everywhere now, and it truly saved my life because I truly don't think I was going to be here. If you'd have told me this 7 months ago, I would have been up running around the grocery store, pushing around my grandson, making race car noises. I would have told you were crazy. And that's what we got to do. And I felt amazing. And I haven't felt this good in 20 years easily.
That's amazing. Yeah, this system is transformative for so many people, and I'm so glad that you're still here with us. And I know it's hard to recognize you from when we first saw you to when we see you in person. It's like you're a different person. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy for you,
Yeah.
Keith.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Megan.
And thank you for sharing your story. Okay, Dr. Dieter, I'm going to give it back to you to wrap us up.
Yeah, Megan, could you go back and share your story about the migraines? I think we had Patty in the chat. Patty asks a question. Can you talk a little bit about what this can do for my intractable migraines? And you had migraines, so
Yeah.
it'll be good for Patty to hear from you what this did for you.
So the vast majority of migraines are caused by blood sugar fluctuation, so a hypoglycemic rebound. I was hypoglycemic. My doctor told me eventually you probably would become a type 2 diabetic. I didn't believe that because I was like, well, I've got low blood sugar, so how can this be? It made no sense to me. However, I had been this way since second grade, right? And no doctor ever said, even though in 1928 they had the research showing that the vast majority of migraines are a hypoglycemic rebound. I knew nothing about that. I did not think the system would work for me. But now I've worked with, because I share my story about migraines, I have worked with lots, dozens and dozens of other people who also have suffered with chronic migraines. And once they start, the system balances your blood sugar, right? You get metabolically healthy. We're not doing this yo-yo thing all day long and with our blood sugar. And there's like some people are not no migraines. There's a few people who are my customers who they've significantly reduced their migraines from chronic migraines every other day to maybe once a month kind of a thing. For me, I've had zero, not one headache even. I mean, I would never leave the house without ibuprofen or some drug, right? Pharmaceutical drug, not like other drugs, to be able, because if something started to come on, right, I would know I'm going down quick. So I don't have any of that anymore, and I know that this helps so many people who have been struggling with chronic migraines and not really knowing why. If it's because of something else, a head injury or something else, it may not do anything. But if the vast majority of them are metabolically rooted, and that's why it works to eliminate them or significantly reduce them.
Yeah. And I've had a friend who suffered from chronic migraine, so I had her on the system and she told me she's not had migraines anymore. It's gone. So this many testimonies of similar effects with migraine. So take comfort in that and be hopeful for this. So there's a question, can breastfeeding mothers get on the program? So I say that I give this caution. Um, the Yucca mate is made from a plant that is native to South America, and that plant, the yerba mate plant, has caffeine in it. It's a naturally caffeinated plant. So when it is processed, it comes with caffeine. So the caution I will say is that caffeine can cause your baby to stay up and not sleep and be fussy. It's not going to harm the baby, but it's going to mess up your balance as a mother in trying to get the baby to sleep. So I say caution. And then I'm going to say the other thing is that the company has a decaf version of the Unamate, which has a very insignificant amount of caffeine, who a lot of nursing mothers prefer. So it wouldn't harm the baby. It may cause fussiness, that the baby doesn't sleep because of caffeine. So that's the only caution I will say to that. Um, I'm sorry, whoever is needing my number, I just cannot share my number just like that. Reach out to whoever invited you to address your issues, and if I need to talk to you directly, maybe yes, but I don't just give out my numbers publicly like that. I'm sorry.
And we have
Now,
another question on sleep apnea.
okay. The question on sleep apnea, I did not see it.
It says,
What's the
can someone talk
question?
about sleep apnea? My name is Tima Oka.
Okay, sorry. For some reason, I'm not seeing I'm all the questions. So thank you. Yes, sleep apnea. This helps to reverse sleep apnea. I don't know if there's anybody on here on the chat right now who has sleep apnea and had this reverse. We have multiple people who have had sleep apnea and have it reversed. You see, sleep apnea is caused. Is there anybody on the chat? If somebody says there is, they can just share their story. If not, uh, I will say sleep apnea. Megan, if you will just be watching for any answers, if there's anybody who has a sleep apnea testimony.
No one yet, but
Yeah, sleep apnea is caused by Sleep apnea is caused by hypertrophy of the airways. Okay. You see, when your insulin is not working well, it circulates very high in the body, a high amount of insulin. Because when your insulin is not working well to secure the body's energy needs, the pancreas that makes insulin has to overcompensate and produce much more insulin. When insulin is circulating high in the body, insulin goes and causes the growth of tissues. Insulin is what we call an anabolic hormone. It causes things to grow. And one of the things that insulin causes to grow is the tissue in the airway, hypertrophy. When that tissue in the airway hypertrophies, it now collapses the airway and causes sleep apnea. What happens is that this product helps to reverse insulin resistance, to reverse that issue of insulin resistance. And when it reverses insulin resistance, the hypertrophic tissue now shrinks. It's just like if you go to the gym, you're working out every day, you're going to buff up. If you stop working out, you stop the stimulus to your muscles, after a while, your muscles are going to shrink. So when insulin levels now go down, the hypertrophic tissues in the neck that had grown and obstructed the airway, they now shrink back to normal and cause the airway to be open and reverse the sleep apnea. So there are many people, stories of people who have had sleep apnea. In fact, our dear friend Festus, he's not on here. He had sleep apnea, who he had this reversed.
And then Nikki says that their friend Chris had sleep apnea for 25 years and hasn't used his sleep machine now for months.
Great.
There, Dr. Marla, who I showed her before and after picture, she's the woman with long COVID. She also had sleep apnea, and then I think somewhere around the 2 year mark, she went in for a actual sleep test so that she could have the diagnosis reversed. And her testing, the sleep study was perfect. She has no more sleep apnea according to the doctor. And then there is someone who mentioned that they still have sleep apnea. They're using the system. It can take months for
Depending
people
on
to
your
get
metabolic
right.
profile, yes, yeah.
Everyone's starting at a different place. And so if
Yeah.
you've been sick for a long time, it may take months for that to get better. And there's another question, Dr. Dieter, on how to get around the water restrictions for someone on dialysis.
That's a very good question. Um, and it's a question you have to take into consideration. You need to work with your water restriction. So if your water restriction restricts you to a total of 2 liters of water a day, you need to make sure that what you're consuming is within that. So for example, the Unimate, you're supposed to consume 2 bottles of the Unimate a day. One bottle is 16 ounces, okay? So one bottle is 16 ounces. So 2 bottles will be 32 ounces. Okay, 32 ounces is still far away from 1 liter. The balance, you use the balance in 8 ounces of water. So in total, we're saying 32 plus 8, so 40 ounces. So you just factor those 40 ounces into your dialysis fluid restriction if you're supposed to be taking no more than 2 liters a day. I think 2 liters is the equivalent of uh, 1 liter is how many ounces? Let's say, I give you that quickly. I used to know that 30 ounces, 1 liter is. No, 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 no. 1 liter. Let's see if somebody can help me here. Let's see. All right, I was trying to get you
64 ounces. Someone said 64 ounces.
1 liter, 64 ounces. Okay. So the Unimate and the balance total is 40 ounces. And most dialysis patients are restricted to not more than 64 ounces of water a day. So you're still gonna be within your um Oh, the restriction for dialysis is 32 ounces a day. Okay, with that, if there we I didn't know that 32 ounces, that is just half a so 1 liter is the equivalent of okay, 2 liters is 64, 1 liter is 32. So dialysis patients are restricted to 1 liter. Oh wow, I didn't know that. I thought it was similar to heart failure patients around the 2 liters. That seems quite restrictive, but you could still walk within that. What you can do, the balance, you could use the balance instead of 8 ounces, 4 ounces. You can still walk within those restrictions.
Okay. And then we have another question. What if someone has gastroparesis and IBS? And I can say IBS, I mean, I had IBS for 25 years, and within a week, my IBS was completely gone. So I know there's lots of stories about people with IBS who
Yeah.
as Dr. Dieter was saying, it heals your gut so that you don't have IBS anymore. But what about gastroparesis?
Gastroparesis is the result of an imbalanced gut. It's also the result of insulin not working well to secure the body's energy needs. And those two things impair the nerve, the um, the nerves that help in mobility of the GI tract. And so when insulin is running high, the nerves don't work well. It causes gastroparesis. So when you restore insulin working well, those gastroparesis symptoms go away. It is very common for patients who have diabetes to have gastroparesis. But this helps to address that too.
And I don't know if we have
So
another.
I want to comment on what Jane Abbey said. That makes a lot more sense. That for HD patients, fluid restriction is individualized. It's not one measurement for all patients. That makes much more sense metabolically. So I thank you for saying that. Yeah, but you don't have to be diabetic to have gastroparesis. I was just saying that one of the things we see commonly in diabetics is gastroparesis. Anything that impairs insulin's function, you don't have to be diabetic to have an insulin problem. You will have diseases that come as a result of insulin not working well.
And then there was a question, does it help with circulation? And Keith answered that it is helped his edema.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to say anything else about circulation with this.
Yes, absolutely. Guys, I want to say this again. Insulin is a hormone that secures the body's energy needs. Every cell in the body requires energy to function. For circulation to occur, our blood vessels have to be open, okay? There is a special cell in our blood vessel that produces an energy, produces a special signaling molecule called nitric oxide. What nitric oxide goes to do is to open our blood vessels. Nitric oxide is only produced when there is energy. So when insulin is not able to secure the body's energy needs, that cell is not able to make nitric oxide to open the blood vessels for circulation. So when insulin begins to work now well and could secure the body's energy needs, the cells that need the energy to produce the nitric oxide to open up the blood vessels so the circulation can occur, that happens and improves circulation also. We are right at the mark of the 1 minute mark. We designed this to be 1 hour. Unfortunately, we may not be able to take all the questions. I'm going to take one more question, and Megan, and then I'm going to close us, and say one thing. Megan, can you moderate, and what question do we take?
Okay, so I think the last one is a good question. It's about weight loss. So if you don't want to lose weight, I did not have a lot of weight to lose. Can you still use this? We have people who are underweight, right? They cannot put on weight. They look emaciated, and they use the system, and they're able to put on healthy weight. One woman, 30 pounds. She didn't look like she was a walking skeleton anymore. Now she looks healthy. So when you get metabolically healthy, your body will be at a healthy weight. Whether if you're underweight, you'll be able to put on weight. If you're overweight, your body allows your to burn off of that excess weight. So yes, it is absolutely, you get health benefits. It lowers inflammation. All of the things that Dr. Dieter has said. And if you need to lose weight, then your body can. And if you don't need to, then your body won't. I don't need to lose any weight. I just use this day after day and don't have migraines, don't have brain fog. I can think clearly. I don't have inflammation. I do not have plantar fasciitis and frozen shoulder anymore. I am not struggling with eye floaters. I didn't know those were pre-diabetic eye disease. So I have no more eye floaters. All these health benefits, and I am not losing any weight. I am perfect.
All right. Megan, thank you so much for helping us moderate today. Keith, thank you for sharing your testimony. I want to end by saying this, guys. We do these science calls 2 days a week, every Sunday and Monday at exactly the same time. We use the exact same Zoom link you used to enter this call tonight. So if you were on here today for the first time and you listened to something that was eye-opening in regards to your health and could impact the health of your loved ones, and you wish that your uncle, your friend, your cousin could have been here to hear this information that will help their health, well, invite them tomorrow to this call, which will be happening the same time with the same link. And for those of you who we were not able to answer your question because of time constraints, keep those questions tomorrow. And shoot those questions at us, we'll be happy to answer them. And I will end by saying this. You were invited here by somebody. Thanks for honoring that invitation. We are always looking for people to join our team. There is so much disease in our community in America, and we are looking for people to give them good news that their diseases are reversible. They don't need to inject insulin for the rest of life. They don't need to remain dependent on blood pressure medications for the rest of their life. They don't need to continue to suffer with sleep apnea. You name it. These diseases, the science is now profound that these diseases are reversible. And we will love to partner with as many people as possible who see this as a worthy mission to help as many people in their community reclaim their health again. You do not need to be a doctor. You do not need to be a nurse. You do not need to be a pharmacist. You just need to be somebody with a heart for this mission to help people take back their health. And if that's you, we want to work with you. We want you to join our team to be part of this mission, helping people hear the good news they could take their health back. Megan, thank you very much. Keith, thank you very much. Thank you for the questions, and good night.
Thank you, Dr. Dieter.
All right.